Welcome back to Light the Fuse, the only Mission Impossible podcast that, we just give it all we've got every week. I really feel like we do.
Yeah, we do.
We put our hearts into it.
Yes. We put all that we've got left into this.
And then some.
There's not much left in the tank.
No.
But we're giving it all to you.
No.
I'm Charles Hood.
Drew Taylor here once again. And this week we have not only someone who is intimately involved with Tom Cruise, but also is our first actor.
Yeah, he is technically our first actor.
And
he's acted in a few things over the years, and he talks to us about them.
Yes. Including he was Batman for a lot of Batman Forever, which we're going to talk about in this episode. But we are talking to Keith Campbell, who is an amazing stunt performer, a stunt coordinator. He was a stunt coordinator on your most recent movie.
Yes, and he also tells us about his part in Men in Black.
Yes, which is awesome.
If you know Men in Black, you'll know his part. And
yeah.
You'll be like, oh my God, yeah, I know him.
And yes, this is the first part of a 3-part installment, and I think that we could have him back. You're friends with him, so you get to text him. I'm very jealous of that.
I really hope I get to work with him again.
I loved talking to him.
And he showed us a few pictures that we're not allowed to share, but they're great pictures of him on set of these movies. We'll try to see if we can convince him to give us something to share on our social media so you can see him on set, because it's amazing.
So he was Tom Cruise's stunt double for 10 years, which includes the first 2 Mission Impossible movies.
Yes.
Which we don't really get into in this episode.
I think we do.
A little bit.
I think we get into the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
We also get into his start as in the firm. He did that amazing jump out the window, which was in every trailer. And he did the breakdance. He was hired to do the breakdancing scene, which, if you don't remember, is a very weird scene.
Yes, where he does backflips down the street.
Yeah,
Tom
with
Cruise
a little kid. Yeah.
Yes. For Tom Cruise's character, it's actually Keith.
It's Keith.
So, yeah, it's awesome. So cool to talk to him.
He tells us a story about meeting Princess Diana.
Oh, yeah. It's great stuff. Can't wait for you to hear it. Before we start the interview, though, I wanted to just bring up the La La Land Records release of Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
The score, Danny Elfman's score, they released an expanded version.
Is it sold out?
Which is awesome. I don't know. Hopefully it's not sold out by now. There's only 3,000 units. And if you haven't gotten it yet, highly recommend it. They specifically... they give it's expanded tracks you've never heard before. I've been listening to it on repeat. It's so good. They also have little markers on the back to let you know how many tracks incorporate the Lalo Schifrin main theme, and Lalo Schifrin's the plot theme, and they're like 5 different tracks that incorporate the plot.
Interesting.
Which was cool to see, how much Elfman was weaving the plot into the movie. I don't think it's the entire full score.
But you don't want
that. But it's much more of it than was ever released before.
But it's a nice package.
And so that means at the very least the plot was included in 5 different cues, which I think is more than we thought.
Yeah,
or at least
sure.
I'm not really sure. I think we had thought it was maybe 3 or 4 times, but it's cool. I highly recommend listening to it. Have you listened to it yet?
Yes, you sent it to me. And,
yeah.
But speaking of the plot.
Oh.
We're just going to get right into it right now.
We're going to Kevin Blumenfeld,
who
gave us our legally dissimilar main theme, just went ahead and violated any copyright laws that are out there and gave us the plot theme so that we can segue into interviews.
He's got a movie on Lifetime right now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
have not been on social media enough, but I'm Kevin Blumenfeld has a movie. He always has stuff coming. He's an incredibly talented composer. We consider him a very good friend, and
he didn't post about it.
Hopefully, he feels
Instagram.
the same way about us. But Kevin's amazing, and he's scoring the thing I'm working on right now. So
but Paramount, cool. Don't let that stop you from suing him.
Oh, absolutely not.
Just go after him.
Yeah. No. We'll help you out as much as you want, Paramount.
Yeah.
Let's take him down.
Yeah,
Kevin needs to come down a notch or two.
Yeah, his life is too good.
So anyway, we've been babbling long enough.
Yes.
Enjoy this interview.
Keith Campbell, part 1, and we'll be back afterwards to wrap things up. We're here. I think we're going to count this as the first actor who's been on our show.
Thank you. I always wanted to be, and led me to being a stunt guy.
Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
So
this is Keith Campbell, by the way.
Yeah. So we're doing an intro.
Hello,
too.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, so you came out.
I moved to Hollywood and studied acting and ran into a guy that said, so you're a gymnast, huh? You're really tall for a gymnast. You should try to be a stunt guy. And I said, cool, what's that? And that's my intro to the stunt world. And, got lucky enough to have a couple acting roles along the way, but the stunt business opened its doors for me, and I walked in. Good fun.
And how long ago was that?
That was in 1989, technically, so it's kind of 30 years in December. Wow. I always say I started in 90, so coming up on 30 years, really.
Well, you look great.
Bless your heart.
People
Thank you.
can't see that, but
And you've been busy.
yeah.
I've been really busy.
Yeah, I just want to list the names of directors that you've worked with. I'm going to do it quickly, but it's
Okay.
going to be a
All right.
very impressive list because this is kind of insane to me. Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, Barry Sonnenfeld, Tim Burton, Philip Noyce, Phil Alden Robinson, Richard Attenborough, Barry Levinson, Jim Abrahams, John McTiernan, Sidney Pollack, Tony Scott, Mike Nichols, Robert Zemeckis, Roland Emmerich, Catherine Bigelow, Joel Schumacher, Brian De Palma, John Woo, Cameron Crowe, Alan J. Pakula, Guillermo del Toro, Wolfgang Peterson, Gore Verbinski, Ivan Reitman, Harold Ramis, Michael Bay, Spike Jonze, Sam Raimi, Jay Roach, Ron Howard, James Cameron, Adam McKay, Matthew Vaughn, Joe Johnston, and Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen. Is that wrong?
How many?
No,
do you
it's
remember?
right, but you're leaving one off the
Yeah,
list.
there's a really big one.
Yeah,
yeah.
named Charles Hood.
Yeah. That's what I said when you told me that
No,
list
I know,
earlier.
for real. That was awesome doing that with you.
I guess we should clarify
Plug
that.
this.
So Keith, you were stunt coordinator
Yes.
for the Into the Dark
the
episode
Dark.
that I just directed, which is sort of a feature, sort of a TV episode. I don't know what it is
It's
exactly.
Christmas.
But it'll be on Hulu
Christmas.
in December.
Yeah.
It was such a pleasure working with you, and
Likewise.
we were out on a Friday night at the end of a long week shooting.
It was
and we were
my
getting
last
drinks.
night on the show, actually, my last day. And,
thank you, God.
I know
Yeah.
you might have escaped without me finding out. I
Yeah.
think you just randomly. I think I just asked you what else you worked on. You mentioned, I did some
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg movies. I doubled Tom Cruise, and I was like, wait, what? And I grabbed you and shook you and was like, tell me everything. And then I found out that, and I called Drew immediately.
Yes.
That you actually worked on both Mission Impossible 1 and Mission Impossible 2 as Tom
Yes.
Cruise's stunt double.
Very exciting time for me. And my wife is the one that said, you need to go out more and socialize. This is why I went out with you guys that night.
Oh,
'Cause
that's
normally
great.
I just go home and
Yeah.
I'm a couch potato. I like to watch TV when I'm done. But so I have to thank my wife for helping that all
Yes.
happen.
Yes. Thank her for
Will
both
do.
of us.
From
Will do.
us, yeah.
Of course.
So how did you initially get this gig? I mean, it was a 10-year stint that you were his stunt double. So
Yes.
that's, how did that come about?
It happened when a younger stuntman who was just getting into the business, he was a gymnast and he was pretty short, like most male gymnasts are. He called me and said, hey, my name's Jay Caputo, and I submitted you to double Tom Cruise because they're looking for a gymnast for this movie called The Firm. And at that point I thought, yeah, like that'll ever happen, because I was brand new too in the business at the time. So sure enough, I get a call from that stunt coordinator, Andy Armstrong, and he says, here's what the scene is. Can you do that? And I said, yes, I can. He goes, well, Tom would prefer having a taller person rather than a shorter person. So I'd like to come out and do it. Off I went to Memphis, and he told me what it was, and I went, great, no problem. I can't wait till you see me do it. And he goes, yeah, I can't wait till I see you do it. I'm having a tough time believing it. So it was kind of a joke that I was there doubling him and going to do some gymnastics for him. It was pretty darn cool.
And this was a time when literally every single person in the country had that paperback of The Firm. Everyone had read it. This was the biggest
right.
movie, adaptation around.
Yeah.
And do you want to say
that
this?
cast is amazing. I just
Cast-
rewatched The Firm recently, and there's that. I mean, anybody who's seen The Firm, they know it's kind of. I think it's
So
almost
good.
like become I think a meme on some level. But the part where Tom Cruise flips down the street, that is
Yes.
actually Keith flipping
Yeah.
down the street.
It was awesome. Now, Tom was so good that he did the lead into it, actually did the round off, which it's funny. As a gymnast, you're either a left-handed gymnast or a right-handed gymnast. Has nothing to do with whether you're left-handed or right-handed. And of course, Tom was a righty and I'm a lefty. So
Oh, okay.
that was so awkward for me, but I had to match him going
Right.
into that whole thing. Yeah, I had all the back handsprings into the backflip over Tom. He wasn't quite at that level yet, but I guarantee you, probably now, he would train and he would learn to do that by himself.
Yeah,
Right.
I've logged 1,500 hours on the gym.
Yeah, exactly. He would. He's done that with everything, from what I hear. It's been since 2002, I think 2002, 2003, when Minority Report ended. It's the last time I actually ever doubled him, so it's been a while.
So you don't have his current email address?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
You got his old AOL address.
I wish
prodigy.
I did. Our birthdays are like a month and 2 weeks apart, and I know when his birthday is, and I always wish, oh God, I wish I could wish him a happy birthday. Just to say, hey, and thanks. It was such a great time the whole time I was working with him.
You also did in the firm the moment that was in every trailer, which is him knocking the window out and jumping into the trash receptacle.
Or it's
It was a cotton truck.
Cotton
truck, yeah.
What are the odds?
That's so funny.
Thank goodness it was there.
Rewatching that movie recently, they set up the cotton truck earlier in the movie. There's like another scene earlier where Tom Cruise is going to work, and there's somebody being like, "Why is this cotton truck here every day?"
Just so it's less of a Looney Tunes type moment.
And then it comes back later, and the cotton truck's there again.
So how far was that fall?
Great question. Probably like 25 feet.
Okay.
20, 25. It wasn't super big.
Well, to us it is.
There were a couple of ropes that were holding down the cotton that I had to hit a pretty small target. So it was fine.
Well, do you know this Mission Impossible trivia that goes along with the firm that Charles just uncovered?
I do not.
I don't know how big of a Mission Impossible fan you are.
Did you watch the old show or
the old show?
Yeah.
Oh no, not since I was a kid.
Okay, but
So you saw it maybe a little as a kid. The first season, Stephen Hill was an actor who portrayed Dan Briggs, and he was like the original leader of the team in Mission Impossible. And he is in the firm, and there's a scene. We just like realized this recently, and it blew our minds. Wow. There's a scene where Tom Cruise is talking to like the head of the FBI or like the head of that unit or whatever, and it's Stephen Hill, and so it's Stephen Hill and Tom Cruise on a bench talking just a couple years before Tom Cruise would take over Mission Impossible.
Yeah, we wonder if that was maybe the impetus or something, or
he's
like awesome. Talk about it. Yeah.
So Mission Impossible
1.
You get the call.
Oh gosh, So I did the firm with him, and then wrote him a really nice thank you note. I was a very young stunt guy and didn't know the proper thing to do, but I had, it was so awesome to be working with him. And then I say, thank you, go off. And my career is just going big because I'm a tall gymnast. And all of a sudden I become the best gymnast ever in the stunt business, which was never true, but I got perceived that way. What does it mean to be the best
gymnast in the stunt business?
It was awesome. And it's just because I was taller than everybody at the time. It was amazing. So I get the call to go do Batman, doubling Val Kilmer, and the leading lady is Nicole Kidman.
Right.
Tom comes to visit the set one day, getting close to the end of it, and I say hello, and he says, "Hey, Keith, nice to see you again." He remembered my name. I thought that was amazing. So he says, "So you're just a full-on stunt guy?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I thought you were just a gymnast." I mean, finishing that sentence, he goes, "I'm doing Mission Impossible next. Love to have you do it." And I said, okay, because he knew my schedule because his wife was on the same schedule. And literally the day I finished there, they were having me go do Mission Impossible over there in London.
Okay, so if we have to pause for a minute to say, how much of a fucking nightmare was Batman Forever? Because did you see that Joel Schumacher interview?
I did. Okay. Yes, I did. And I love Joel Schumacher.
That interview is fantastic.
Yeah.
Anybody who hasn't read it, highly recommend.
Yes, it's on Vulture.
I even said to him, "Did he really push you?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yes, he did, Keith. He did."
Kilmer or who?
Kilmer, yeah. Val was tough on that, and I went and did The Saint with him afterwards. But this is more about Tom Cruise, so
no, it's okay.
But The Saint is in the same kind of vein as Mission Impossible. 60s
and we always love whoever we bring on the show. We always love to talk about their career, and we use Mission Impossible as a springboard. So happy to hear good stories.
Well, I'll just fill in the next 6 hours then with all about me.
We're here for it.
I get to go double Val Kilmer on The Saint, and he kind of like took me aside. He actually there was a couple of people there that he had worked with before. We all went to dinner one night. Val took us to dinner, and he said, I've had a little bit of a bad reputation. I'm trying to fix it, and I don't want to be the bad guy. And the funniest thing he would do in the mornings, he would read the trade papers and see what kind of crap they would write about him.
Oh, no.
And he would read it out loud to the crew and then be overly sarcastic. Hey, don't look at me. Who looked at me? Because he would read something in there that you're not allowed to look at him or anything.
Yeah.
And it was all such baloney. And he was fun to be around on the Saint.
Oh, that's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a nice... I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Was Tommy Lee a nightmare, though?
Tommy Lee.
On Batman.
Batman.
Forever.
Oh, and Batman. Yeah, more distant. I had to do a lot of dialogue with him in scenes. Because the other Val Kilmer, not from the Saints, if he didn't have to be in the suit, if it wasn't a close-up on him, I was in the suit.
So you're in a lot of Batman Forever.
I'm in a lot of Batman Forever. A lot. And I'm doing dialogue with Tommy Lee Jones. And he was just very professional, and he was kind of awesome and knew that it was probably a tough position for me. And
But he wasn't comfortable either with that shit on his face.
But he
too.
was more encouraging about me doing that. And then right after that, I cast in Men in Black. And Tommy Lee was in that. And I went to the table read and said hello to him and reminded him who I was from Batman. And he goes, great, then you can handle this just fine. It was so awesome. He was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I grew up with him actually.
Oh, good.
I was buddies with his son. So everybody talks about what of an asshole he is, and I go, well, he read me bedtime stories, so I don't have that.
Yeah. I never got that from him at all.
Can you give us your famous Men in Black line? Do you
Men in
remember
Black.
Yeah, so we should say that you are. I mean, this blew my mind when you told me, and as soon as you told me, I recognized your face and was like, "Oh my god, of course!" So in the introduction of Will Smith's character in Men in Black, he's chasing what IMDb calls you the perp.
The perp, exactly.
And you're like running and jumping over these crazy things, and Will Smith tracks you down and then runs up this museum, whatever, and gets
the Guggenheim.
Well,
the Guggenheim, right. And then at the top, you're there, and you jump off the roof, and you say a line.
Even before that, down at when he catches up to me and first runs into me, and he's holding me against the wall, up against a big retaining wall outside of Central Park. He's got his elbow up against me, and I say, he's coming, which there was a lot of comedy about that whole line while we were doing that. But then, I go up on top and I say, he's coming.
Your world's gonna end.
He's coming because I failed him, and he'll kill me too. And he goes, wait, what are you? What are you? And my eyes blink sideways, and then I say, your world's gonna end.
And then you kill
And then
yourself.
I blink, and then I back up to the edge, and I fall off.
Jump.
There was a lot more plot when you were doing that, though, too. I remember that was like a last-minute thing that they took out.
Oh.
So your dialogue probably had real gravitas, maybe, when you were doing, real.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was deep.
It was deep, right?
Deep,
But it probably did have a little bit more context in that initial.
Yeah, that sequence is amazing, though.
So great.
so
and also great
I
Will
love that
Smith line
movie.
when he says, NYPD means I will knock your punk ass down.
Yeah. And
We're
then,
big Men in Black fans.
what about It's Raining Black People?
Oh, yeah.
He jumps into the
be
bus.
raining
Yeah.
black people in New York.
Oh my god.
So good. But anyway, back to Mission Impossible.
All right.
Yeah.
You go to London.
Okay.
I go
get
to London.
recruited.
Yeah, well, actually, we go to Prague first. I left that part out. So I went to Prague, and
Were you guys shooting in sequence? No.
I don't know. I was just
Prague is though. But okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was, but we had a month in Prague, and I went and met this whole British stunt team, and they were expecting somebody a little full of themselves and high and mighty, and I don't come off that way. I won't say I have the most testosterone of any stunt guy in the stunt business. I probably have the least.
Right.
And so I go there, and I instantly hit it off with these guys, and we go out to dinner, my first night there, and there is some drink that they're all familiar with, the British guys, called Bekarovka. And it's this very thick white liquid, kind of like, I don't know, absinthe. I've heard of it. Or it sounds like that. So they're filling my little shot glass with that, and they've already got it worked out with the staff to fill theirs all with water. And so they get me just plastered there, and it was hilarious. no great stories from that other than the
That
night.
was your first night?
No,
Yeah,
man, that
okay.
was my
This is
first
your
night in
initiation.
Prague. Yeah, with the new stunt guys, and just had so much fun with the British guys.
Do you want to talk about what sequences you were involved in? Because some of these are genuinely surprising.
So just right before we started recording, Keith showed us a video, like a reel of all of your Tom Cruise work.
Yes.
We were looking at that. So we've seen now
Yeah.
shots that you did in Mission Impossible, which are pretty amazing.
One of my favorite one was this flip over a fence and then running away. And unfortunately, at that time, you can sure tell the difference between the way I run and the way he runs.
Should we tell people so they can keep an eye out for this?
Yeah.
So it's right
Yeah,
after
I'm sure
Kristen
that's
Scott,
fine,
right
yeah.
after Kristen Scott Thomas gets stabbed.
Spoiler alert.
And then Tom Cruise holds the knife, and then
Okay.
the police boats are coming,
Right.
and then he jumps it over the fence.
Exactly.
And that fence jump, which is so cool,
Yeah.
is actually Keith.
Which is just on the spur of the moment. They're going out. Look, what cool way can you get over the fence? And I do this thing, and they go, awesome.
Do you guys know
let's
I'm the
shoot.
#1 gymnast in the stunt community?
That's right.
I
I'm the
got
best
an idea.
gymnast ever. Oh, gosh.
Was it
That's so
harder
cool.
to hide things because the way De Palma shoots? Because you see a lot of quick cuts and inner cuts and things, and De Palma has this very kind of austere, long lenses and long takes and things like that.
Yeah, it's the most deliberate of all the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
The longest average
Shot length.
shot
That's
length. you know?
amazing.
So like when you showed us, like we
Yeah.
saw like the Mission Impossible 2 stuff. There's
Yes.
quick cuts,
Yes.
and you were like, "That's me. No,
Yeah.
that's Tom. That's
So-
me. That's me. That's
Yeah.
Tom." You know, it's like, but with De Palma, like, it's
Yeah, was that
That's
harder or was
interesting.
it more fun for
It
you?
must have been. It was more fun. I mean, even back then, Tom goes, okay, so you guys rehearse this, and then I want to try it. And so, like the flip with the wind in the train, where it flips him over.
When the other train is coming and the wind.
Well, even
Yeah.
the first time he
the first
climbs
time.
up, and he climbs up, and then this whole cartwheel over onto his stomach. It's I think they go from that into a close up, but I don't think it's not a continuous shot.
Right.
Doesn't mean he didn't do it. That was a pretty wide shot at that time, so of course I'm gonna include it on my reel and show you guys and go, could have been me. I mean, Tom does it too, and it's pretty awesome. There were some things I gotta be careful not to jump from one movie to the next and just kind of stick with Mission Impossible. But the train the helicopter exploding. Of course, there's a big shot of me coming up, and then a direct cut to where we slam Tom into the front of the train. But yeah, Tom doesn't do the big explosion off there.
Were you on a catapult? What was that?
I was on what we call an air ramp, which is a catapult. It's
Right.
not wires. Yes.
Pneumatic.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
It's it for you guys that can't see us. It looks like this. Okay.
looks like
Yeah.
a catapult.
Yeah.
It is. It's a thing you step on it and it springs you forward, or you're holding a button in your hand and you can control it by pushing the button whenever you want to there. But the wind machines were going, which was those fans where people go do indoor skydiving, basically, where they get on there and they can hover above the air because it's blowing 120 plus miles an hour. They took that, they ran it through a funnel and put the air on top of the train and ran that down the train, and you literally had to make as much friction on the top of the train as possible to keep from sliding down the train. The wind was so powerful. It was pretty awesome. So we climb up out of there, and the wind, as soon as you get your legs up and your hips up a little bit, the wind just takes over and would flip you over, and you have to grab on to hold on. It was pretty exciting. I completely forget where we were going with that whole thing. Yeah.
Well, we're just sitting here.
Well, it
listening.
reminds me when you're talking about how you don't know if it's you or you don't know if it's you or if it's Cruise, like doing the flip over. It's like you said something to me on set when we were shooting, because I was concerned about how I didn't want an actor. I didn't want a stunt double to be doing something that I wanted to see the actor doing.
Absolutely.
And you clarified some point for me that you said that it wasn't your job. And I forget what your quote was, but
what I said is, it's my job. I want to help you create things that the actors can do, as long as the actors they want to do it. I don't need to put a stunt double there
Right.
Just because they can rehearse it and show the actors what is going on, which I think is so priceless and valuable. And because I know it's so valuable for you as the director to have your actors doing as much as they can and they want to do. And I like that.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh, that's really nice to hear. I don't know. It was like it put me at ease a little bit because it was like, there's always a concern about making sure.
Yes.
Safety, obviously you want to make sure everybody's safe.
Number
and
one,
feels safe. And you don't want
absolutely.
anybody to do anything that they don't want to do.
Exactly.
And we had actors, not wear the squibs. So we had stunt doubles do that stuff.
Let me tell you how much I want to be squibbed.
Which
I'm dying to be squibbed.
it sounds like if you could add Drew to your stunt team.
Oh
if
my
you need
God.
someone to get a bunch of squibs on them.
yes,
Yeah.
Drew,
Can we get a squib to the face on Drew?
I want I want big.
They do that.
Like Django.
Yeah.
Shooting everywhere.
Yeah.
But you are an actor also in Mission Impossible. This is
Yes.
very important
Yes.
to cross before we forget.
Yeah.
In the
fireman.
Langley sequence,
Yep.
Tom's character is in a kind of pseudo mask. You see him
Yes.
putting away the mask later.
Exactly.
And that's you,
But
in the mustache.
Yeah, so you run in as the fireman.
Yes.
And it's because when we count how much Tom Cruise runs in each of the Mission Impossible
This
movies,
is going to really...
and we
Yeah.
counted the seconds of how much he runs, and we were wondering, do we count the fireman running in because it's not really Tom?
Clearly a different actor. Yeah.
And so I don't think we
Clearly.
counted that.
Yeah.
But now we
Okay.
know the answer to who that actor was. He's sitting right here in
It was
front of us.
awesome.
But it wasn't your mustache.
No, that was definitely not my mustache.
Stunt mustache.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I had a little moment like that in the firm also.
Oh,
Were
are you in
they-
the firm?
Yeah, they stop a guy before he's running down the escalators and stuff right outside there, where they stop a guy and question him because I look just like him. So
Right.
yeah, it was a neat little thing for me when I was so young in the business and going, gosh, I got to. That's my face on there. Yeah.
Get your SAG card. Can we talk about this very controversial
Yeah.
of
Hey.
you running away from the
water.
From the water.
From the water.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
This
so-
might be the interview that gets us really shit canned. But
Now, is your goal? I mean, I think you said, Charles. Hopefully, Tom Cruise will love this stuff enough that he'll want to come talk to you on this
yes,
podcast.
that's our goal.
I know, and hey, I'm
I mean,
here
would
to
it be
try and
better?
help that.
Yeah. Would it be better if someone had his up-to-date email address? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we know anyone like that? No.
No, darn it.
So you said this was early face replacement.
Just that when the glass actually breaks over his head.
Okay.
I saw some really great photos of that, and I asked for some of those photos, and they said absolutely. And of course, they never came.
So it's just when the glass bursts.
Exactly.
So it's not the big shot.
No.
Because the shot after that would be the most impressive
Yeah.
face replacement ever. So that's Tom Cruise running away from the water.
right.
His face.
When it's his face.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Jumping
the initial glass breaking
Yeah. The
was
initial,
you, and there was early face replacement.
That's what I was told. Now, they also did some stuff where Tom, I mean, they spend so much money trying to make sure Tom is doing all this stuff. So they had that whole aquarium set up and the effects guys on the button, and they said, okay, Tom is going to jump out. You will blow that up when it's safe. So
You being you?
no, they do
Pyro
they do
guys.
additional cuts so they can cut right into it of where Tom is already jumping.
Yeah.
And that thing blows up.
Yeah.
And trust me, this is not Tom not being able to do something. All he's doing is jumping out this window a few feet down to the ground and running away.
Right.
But of course, they don't want to blow this up right over his head.
Yes.
You know, so
That's like what Brad Bird was telling us that when he did Ghost Protocol, there's some part where Cruise, Ethan Hunt's supposed to fall onto a table and it breaks.
Yeah.
And he's like, could Tom Cruise do it? Yes. But we don't want to risk injuring Tom
Exactly.
Cruise so that you can't shoot the rest of the movie. So that's
Yeah.
why you have a
Yes.
stunt double do
which
that.
means it's nothing to do with whether Tom can do his own stunts.
Right.
That's for sure. Because I mean,
They're happy to
you
risk
guys-
gouging your
amazing.
eyeballs out.
Yes,
exactly. Or just shard straight through the top of the skull. Yeah.
And then it's you
Oh
on
my
the
God.
reverse shot, running
Running
away
away.
from the water.
So in Prague,
Yeah.
the last shot where it running through Prague. I said you told me, I think when I first talked to you about this, a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
that you had to learn how to run like Tom Cruise.
Absolutely.
Can you teach us how to run like Tom Cruise?
Yes, I can.
Can we do it
So,
not
okay.
when it's dark?
Okay.
We're gonna do this during the day.
Okay.
We're gonna have somebody
What-
shoot it.
How did you learn how to run like Tom Cruise?
Tom trained with track athletes on the proper technique with the arm is mainly all I had to learn for the running, because it would be very, very clear if it was me just running the way I normally run or the way he was trained to run. So it was just, the arms got to be straight forward. They don't cross in front of your body at all.
Okay.
They go straight forward. The elbows come straight back, and
his posture is just amazing.
Yeah. So he trained with track athletes when for just in general?
Just in general, yeah. I didn't even ask him when. He just let me know that he's trained with a lot of athletes on that, and how to make that most efficient and professional. And
wow,
yeah, he doesn't miss a detail. I mean, he wants to know everything as far as running goes.
Well, another thing that blew our minds was that it's your hand catching the sweat.
That was fun.
So in Langley, when the sweat drops, the hand comes in and catches the sweat.
Exactly. A
That's
little insert shot that was so meticulous. And the interesting part about that that was in 95, I believe. And it was filmed. And it's like it's so loud. I think it's 360 frames per second.
Okay, we were
running
wondering
through this thing. It's either 320 or 360, and 360 seems to be a convenient number. But it's just as loud going through the magazine, and you get probably 1, maybe 2 takes per magazine. And,
wow.
Yeah. I love how it strobes.
Because it's so super slow motion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, at that moment, you see the water splash in such slow-mo detail. It was pretty awesome.
What were they dropping the water? Was it just
a little dropper?
Yeah. That was it?
Yeah, because
it's so great because it makes no physical sense. I mean, there's no way the way he's suspended and then his hand coming down like that. Yeah. I mean, it's so abstract, but it's such a beautiful, it's a very De Palma moment.
Yeah. You're so emotionally invested in that you're not stopping to be like, what? You're just kind of like, it just takes your breath away, that whole sequence. It's masterful.
That sequence is #1 stunt story of my entire career, and it will always be. And that's because the day we were rehearsing that, we weren't shooting it. Tom was shooting something else somewhere. Just the stunt team, the effect guys are in there, and I'm upside down, coming down from the ceiling, and the door opens, and Cruise walks in, followed by Princess Diana, William, and Harry.
Whoa.
And one of Princess Di's friends and a bodyguard. But Tom just walks in at the right time, and he says, this is my stuntman, Keith, and I am Spider-Man-esque, face-to-face with Princess Diana. I'm upside down. And she reaches up and shakes my hand. It was such a magical moment in my entire life. And then Tom goes, hey, get Keith down. I want to take these guys around the sets. And we were at Pinewood in London and spent about an hour walking around the sets. There's more fun details, but it would be a much longer story. But spending the time with Princess Di and meeting her, and Tom was just, the way Tom cruises, his energy, his excitement, and was so focused on the 2 boys and making sure they had this amazing experience there and seeing whatever they wanted to. And he got up in wires and put on a harness on one stage, got up in wires and tried to talk them into doing it as well. And they declined, but he was
so
just
great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
That is amazing.
He's a good dude. But meeting Princess Di.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Amazing.
So that was it. Keith Campbell, what a guy.
Yeah, I love him.
God,
he's just such
great.
a lovable guy. And when he was on set, my wife would come to visit with the baby, and he would love holding the baby. He was so great with her. He's got kids, and he's a good dude. I just love Keith.
Yeah, I know.
He's such a good
I'm not
dude.
going to tell you I'm not jealous that you have his phone number and you can just call him up anytime. I feel like he could kind of lead you through life. He could, offer you advice. Been in this game a while.
Right.
So that is part 1. We'll be back with part 2 next week. But until then, if you want to subscribe to our Patreon, that would help us out a lot.
Yes, it would.
What would also help us out is if you like, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening to this podcast. And you got any credits for us?
Yes. This episode is brought to you by Jeremy Dillon, as always. We love you, Jeremy. And it is mixed and edited by Luke Burson.
Cool.
So thank you to all our Patreon subscribers. Please sign up for our Patreon.
So that's patreon.com/LightTheFuse.
Yep.
You make
You will
this
love
happen.
it. There will be so many great things if you sign up for our Patreon. So much bonus content. We've got commentaries for the first 4 movies, the 5th movie coming soon.
Extended episodes.
Yeah, extended episodes, extended interviews, just all kinds of fun bonus stuff. So please, please, please sign up. It helps us make this possible on a weekly basis.
That's
it. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcasts@gmail.com. If you'd like to watch the original Mission Impossible television show, all 7 seasons are currently available to stream on Amazon Prime. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.